What's up everybody, it's your boy Rebel here, and I ranked all of the levels in Crash Bandicoot 2 Cortex Strikes Back. So for today's episode, I'll be going over the bottom half of that list, the worst levels in Crash 2. And even though this is the worst half of the list, that doesn't mean that all of these levels are bad, because barely any of them are. But Crash 2 does have the best level design overall of all of the games, so...
Darn you, Crash Bandicoot!
And yes, I will be covering the Insane Trilogy edition of the game, but this is my 5th Crash video in a row, so if you don't know that by now, you must be new here, so welcome. Now, because there are 27 levels in Crash 2, that means that one of the videos, the worst levels or the best levels, was going to have an extra level. And being that level 14 is Road to Ruin, putting it in this one. Number 14, smack dab in the middle, is Road to Ruin, one of the two temple-themed levels in Crash 2, and very similar in style to the temple-themed levels in Crash 1. It has the dark nighttime feel and the dimensions of the inside the temple levels, but is outside like the outside the temple levels. Obviously. This level is pretty fun. There's these heads that breathe fire, and if they don't, they just follow you around all creepy like. One of the few enemies that require you to slide attack them. There is a very easy to reach death route, however the death route and the green gem path in the other temple level have a gorilla throwing logs at you, with only as much as an audio cue. I don't like these segments, cause mainly I kept dying. It wasn't until I already ranked the levels that I realized that you could spin the logs away. But I mean, come on. Did you know you could spin the logs away? I didn't think so. So besides the death route being a log segment, it actually spits you out past the crystal, meaning you'd either have to backtrack and get it, or die like I did, which I'll get into that tactic in a more applicable level, or beat the level without it, be all like, what the hell is this, and replay the level. And if you wanted to get the box gem, you need to find the secret exit in another level to get the secret entrance to this level. Now this secret entrance leads to a big bunch of boxes with a TNT hidden in the middle, a jump over some nitro, and like 2 jumps and you're at the beginning of the level. So basically, the secret entrance is lame, the death route is a big inconvenience due to the crystal, but the level's pretty fun, so I guess it balances out. Also, did you know you could spin the logs away? What kind of bullshit? Number 15, digging it. So this level theme was never one of my favorites. The piranha plants suck and the bees suck. A little bit into the level, there are electric fences that you have to wait for while a piranha plant spits exploding seeds at you, which may or may not give you issues. It didn't in this gameplay, but my second playthrough I just kept dying here. The bonus round has 3 lives that are kind of hard to get, but they're not in boxes, so you don't actually need to get them. There is a death route in this level, and it can be a little tough to get to. And right at the start, there's a bunch of nitro crates that I just kept dying to. And even once you get it, if you die after on the death route, you'll have to do that part over again as well. There is a checkpoint box on the death route, but I was stuck for like 7 minutes before getting it, utilizing the Aku Aku mask given after repeated deaths at like 2 different checkpoints. Once you beat the death route, you have to backtrack to the fork where the death route was, because there are boxes in the death route and in the normal route all the way through. So you need to beat the death route and backtrack to get the box gem. And with the bees, this kind of sucks. I'd suggest passing the exit, getting all the boxes, and once again backtrack to the secret exit to leave. It might be more work, but at least you won't have to play this level again. Now, unlike some of the levels further down this list, this level is actually kind of fun. It's just not as good because of the box gem. And it's also way too easy to die while body slamming the piranha plant. I died 3 times in a row trying to body slam that piranha plant, and I knew it was an exit. If I didn't know it, I would have thought I was wrong. And that's just pretty poor design, you know? Maybe just jumping on him should have been good enough. Whatever. Number 16, Cold Hard Crash. Probably notorious as the hardest level to get both gems. However, I'm not sure if the Insane Trilogy made that easier with the death route being locked open once you traverse them. Now, I do like that these snow levels go from outside forward facing to inside side scrolling back to outside forward facing. The first outside segment is easy enough with nothing of note. Once inside, there are these annoyingly fast pillars that smash you, while the timed logs are easy enough to dodge. The bonus stage had a hidden box off screen, however, thankfully, they decided to put it in frame for the Insane Trilogy. A tough porcupine and a penguin later, and assuming you didn't die at all that whole time, hit the checkpoint box and hop onto the death route platform. Now, this death route can suck. It's almost all ice, and the ice physics aren't the best here. If you build up momentum, you can hit an object, stop, and jump, and just start flying in whatever direction you had momentum. And this death route requires you to soar through enemies, pillars, and logs, and a bunch of nitros. The gem is at the end down a chute that puts you into the third half of the level, but if you're trying to get both gems, then kill yourself, then do the death route again, but this time come to a stop before the drop-off at the end, hit the exclamation crate, and backtrack to the beginning of the death route, hitting every box along the way. Once at the beginning, hop back onto the death route platform and return to the main path. From there, you'll need to get to the next checkpoint box before dying, or you'll have to do all of that over again. Thankfully, if you have enough lives and keep dying, you'll start with the second tier Aku Aku, making this segment pretty easy. However, the rest of the normal second segment is still challenging. Nothing compared to the death route, but still. Then you get to the third segment outside like the first, and this area is pretty fun. So overall, Cold Hard Crash is a cold hard bit. The death route needing to be done twice for both gems, the crazy amount of backtracking, the downright challenge of all of it. This level is basically like a big middle finger to the player. Oh, it is a big middle finger to the player. Gotcha. Number 17, Unbearable. Now these towards the camera chase levels are usually unbearable to me. However, this one has a lot going for it, which is why it's so high on the list. At 17. Now this level foregoes the boulder for a big old bear, and for some reason he chases you down. He must find Crash unbearable. Now first I want to say these chase levels in Crash 2 are way better than in Crash 1. The obstacles are actually good, and on top of just being a chase level, it has a whole secret side-scrolling area. After the second bear doesn't get his head stuck, but instead falls down a giant hole, leaving only a few planks behind. Hop down, this area has hunters shooting at you. It can be tough, but there is a checkpoint halfway through. After beating this fun and challenging secret route, it's one more bear chase before one of the most unique segments in Crash 2. A chase sequence with you on Polar. Yes, this isn't done again in the game, but it's pretty fun. Once you finish riding Polar and he throws you off, go get the box gem and then turn back around, hop over the gap to find Polar there waiting for you. Head back up the path and stand in front of him and you'll be teleported to a secret warp room. I didn't know which level this unlocks, but frankly that doesn't matter. Yes, unlike the other Chase or Polar levels, this one features a secret, lengthy side-scrolling area. It's also got a unique Polar chase segment as well as a secret exit. However, it is just a chase level at its core, and while that is a staple of Crash Bandicoot games, I just have so much more fun playing all the other levels. Number 18, Pack Attack, the second of the two jetpack levels. However, with both being in the final warp room, you can play this one first if you want. Now I'll go ahead and get this out of the way. The jetpack controls are counterintuitive to me. Pushing forward makes you go up, and pressing backwards makes you move down. R2 makes you go forward, and L2 makes you go backwards, so I'm always going forward when I want to go up and down whenever I want to go backwards. It's not great. However, you don't go zooming around all over, so even moving in the wrong directions, I hardly ever died due to the controls. But because of that, you can move slowly through this level, taking some of the challenge away, but it does take some of the fun away as well. Now this level is more challenging than the other jetpack level, having more tightly packed enemies and obstacles, and the whole jetpack thing is super clever, creative, and unique. But there isn't anything overtly fun about the jetpacks. The controls are pretty hard to use, and it's more stressful than it is fun half of the time. And it's not even that stressful. But it's not that much fun either. Number 19, Ruination, the second Temple Ruins level. Now this level may be the harder of the two, but it just isn't as fun. The enemies may be more tightly packed, but that doesn't always equate to more fun. The bonus stage in this level is pretty time consuming, and there's this cruelly placed nitro detonating crate. Thankfully, they give you an Aku Aku before the gorilla with the log. It's a pretty basic and straightforward level, nothing special. Then there's the green gem path, and this gem path once again is a bunch of gorillas. However, two of the gorillas are throwing logs towards the camera. Take that, depth perception. And while this gameplay is flawless, I did die a bunch. And it's just super challenging. Unless, of course, you knew you could spin the logs away. Besides that, this level is pretty blah. And the fact that that's all I basically have to say about this level should show you how I kind of feel about it. Number 20, Totally Bare. This level is in the secret warp room and one of the two secret levels in the game. And this is also the highest ranked Polar level. Now, much like the chase levels and the hog levels in Crash 1, I am not a huge fan of these levels. But the fact that this is the highest ranked Polar level means it is my favorite of all of them. And yes, yes, it can be tough and you can get stuck on certain parts, but the fact that the boost is needed is a great touch. It can be challenging at times, but it's nothing you'll be stuck on forever. There is one checkpoint I kept dying after, and even once I got past it and died, I ended up dying right after the checkpoint again anyway. Kind of frustrating, but nothing too terrible. Also, at the end of the level, there's this cliff that drops down that I always thought was a secret of some kind, but I just couldn't figure it out. Very misleading. The challenge and the pace of this level and the funness make this the best polar level. However, it's still coming in at number 20, so not great. Number 21, Rocket. Now, I'm just now noticing I don't have gameplay for this level, so this is a note to self that I should replay and re-record it. But it's the first jetpack level. It's just not as challenging as the second, but it is just as, if not more, uneventful. These levels may seem super cool for your first couple playthroughs, but if you're ranking them based on how fun the level is, like I am, then this level may be ranked in a similar position. And because of that, you may have just seen gameplay from Pack Attack and not Rocket, because I probably won't be replaying it. I mean, I am ranking it number 21. And coming in at number 22, the Pits. The Pits. Get it? Cause it stinks. Yes, the Pits, one of, if not the only normal style level with only a box gem. And to get it, you need to backtrack. Yes, dreaded backtracking. And it isn't that bad here. However, if you take the right path, you'll see outline, so you have to go to the left path and then back to the right path. Annoying. Besides that, it's a pretty boring jungle level. Worse than the first level, less creative, less going on. Even the bonus stage isn't anything to write home about. It's boring. This level is boring. And the backtracking sucks. Pits. Number 23, Snowbiz, cause there's snow business like this hellish landscape of a poor excuse for ice physics. Now yes, Cold Hard Crash may have more challenge to it, but the ice physics don't get in the way as much as they do in Snowbiz. Now the first outside segment isn't hard, but there is ice. Then once you get inside to the side scrolling, it isn't long before you get to the red gem path, needed for the only gem, the box gem. Now the red gem path doesn't have ice, but it does have an annoying assortment of pillars, logs, and porcupines. I was stuck here for a while. And even after my second playthrough to double check my rankings, the super sprint was almost a must for this segment. And I don't think that should be the case. I mean, I was able to beat it without it, but it shouldn't have been that hard. And there's only one checkpoint in this route, which sucks. It's so many tough spots, one right after another, and with only one checkpoint, you could pass a tough spot only to get stuck on it once again later because you can't stop dying. Once you beat the red gem path, it spits you out at the same spot, so no backtracking needed. However, it has one of the worst bonus stages in the game, which dropped it down here. The ice physics in the bonus stage are incredibly infuriating. It's not fun at all. Then you get outside again, and I guess it's okay. I mean, if you're just beating this level for the crystal, that's one thing. That's not bad. The red gem path and the bonus stage, so terrible that this level is this low on the list. Well, there's snow business like shit level design. Also, I guess you could say that this is the level that I have the most negative feelings towards. You could say this is my least favorite level in Crash Bandicoot 2. These last four, I ranked the way I did because they're bad, just in a different way. Number 24, Crash Crush, one of the two boulder levels, but one of the three chase levels. Now these are pretty boring, however they are a lot better than in Crash 1, but everything in this game is better than in Crash 1. Now what this level has going for it is that it has backtracking, but hear me out. You backtrack in a backwards facing level, so you actually go forwards. It's pretty cool. It's very short, but still it's a nice break to normal in an otherwise gimmicky level. The bonus stage is also pretty okay. And since this is the second boulder level, it is a little more bearable because it's a tiny bit more challenging. But it's still kind of boring and just all around a forgettable level. And that's kind of going to be the reoccurring theme for the next three. So I'll go ahead and speed through them and get to the explanation of why I decided to put them at the bottom. Number 25, Bear Down. The second polar level, you ride polar, there's crates, there's jumps, there's obstacles. It's not bad. It's just going through the motions. You ride Polar. You have to utilize the new boost mechanic once. And there's a secret exit by jumping backwards a couple times. Probably the easiest secret to figure out in the entire game. In fact, it's the only thing I remembered about this level besides the overall theme. Number 26, Barrett, the first Polar level. It's all pretty simple except the annoying nitro part, but besides that annoying part I kept dying on, it's just there. And number 27, Crash Dash, just a boulder level. The obstacles are better than in the first game, but barely. In fact, for a game that improved so much past its predecessor, you could have fooled me by thinking this was in the original. It's just not a good level for everything else that this game had to offer. Same as the last 3 levels that I ranked in the bottom 4. Yes, I guess you could say that Snowbiz is my least favorite level. I guess people could complain that Cold Hard Crash is the worst level. Some people might not like the jetpack levels and call them the worst levels, but at least those were new. As for the final 4, they're just too forgettable. And honestly, that's probably the last thing that you'd want for people to remember your levels by. First, of course, you'd want them to love them. Second, you'd probably want them to like them. Third, you may kind of just be like, find them frustrating. And then maybe people dislike them, hate them, and then at the very bottom, forget about them. Now, I guess the Polar levels are essentially reskins of the Hog levels, so at least they look slightly different, but the Boulder levels are basically exactly the same. And also, I guess these levels are basically just victims to the amazing level design and amazing quality that went into the rest of the game. And with such amazing video game works of art surrounding these otherwise mediocre levels, they just stand out that much more to me. And as the worst. And that's gonna wrap it up for this one. Thanks a bunch for watching. I am very sorry for my very theoretical placement of forgettable levels over super challenging, frustrating levels, but it is what it is. So smash that like button if you enjoyed. Leave a comment down below of how you would have ranked the worst levels in Crash 2. Make sure you're subscribed for more future videos, including me basically doing all of this to Crash 3, and the best levels of Crash 2. And other great stuff like that, I guess. So, yeah, so don't worry. The worst levels in Crash 3 actually do suck. They're not just, like, theoretical. They're forgettable, therefore they're really bad nonsense. It's truly horrible levels. Until then, you can watch something on the screen or in a playlist down in the description. And until next time, peace.